and I'm uh, watching these little families with their little carts with the donkey and the children and their belongings piled up, and they're all trying to escape. And I didn't, I didn't have a thought. Am I connected or are we one? I just had it really made me cry, and I watching them, and I just had a very deep knowledge of my connectedness with everybody that was passing before me on that screen. It wasn't an intellectual possibility. It was just a very deep knowledge of our connectedness. And feeling very sad for what I'm watching going on. And as you were just talking, you were inviting us to if I'm correct, inviting us to explore how do we know this, or is this just, or are we? Is it the way we think about it, or is it the way we feel about it? And what I was feeling was beyond an intellectual understanding of it. It was just a very deep knowledge. And but thank you for just raising that awareness and possibility in my experience. The way that you, the way that you invite us to look is it's just it's really precious. Thank you.
Yeah, the mind is limited, and we are not the mind. The mind appears to us. We are limitless. We are way beyond the limitations of thoughts and beliefs and feelings, sensations. Like the screen is not defined or limited by any image on the screen, like the wide open sky. The reality which we are, which right now hears these words, is one reality, not defined by the clouds, the shapes of the clouds, or the size of the clouds. To, to know that deeply, to invite ourselves to live as that, which is living itself right now, which is living us. We are that borderless awareness. There's no such thing as my consciousness and your consciousness. There are different images that appear on the screen, but we are the screen. And the heart knows, when you watch people suffer anywhere, beyond the mind, we know, we feel, we know the falsehood of separation, the falsehood We can feel it and sense it. The falsehood of any mind position. But sometimes we hold on to our position because we're not ready to let go. We feel that we need to protect something important. But we're only protecting an illusion that we may not be able to let go until somehow the heart speaks loud enough.
Okay, good. Good. I don't think I have a question. I just wanted to share, maybe see what if you have thoughts on this, because as to what Lynn was talking about, I mean, there's awful things happening in the world, and there always happen, I guess, and there always will be. But when we see something happening, um, it's difficult because my observation, my feeling is nothing can be said. It's not just going to be adding to the confusion or adding to people taking sides or adding to the confrontational aspect of things. But then I also feel that to say nothing can be irresponsible also. Right. And so I know that maybe the answer is just do use your best judgment and say what seems true and don't hope for to always be right. But it's tough. It's tough to see things that strike you, that cause pain and seem to be wrong, and it's tough to not say something, but then it seems like saying something also can just make things worse. So I just wanted to share that, and it's a difficult thing, and I didn't know if you have thoughts on it, and if you do, great, and if not, great.
Yes. We can always express love and compassion because love and compassion, they have no ideological position or political position or religious position. Or we all relate to this language, to this expression, to that which is coming from that place, the place of love and peace and understanding. Invitation can also be expressed, an invitation to recognize that there is something more important than our mind and what's appearing in our mind. There is something bigger than that. There's something grander than that. And inviting ourselves and others to discover that on their own. A place where it's not the mind. That can also be shared. This invitation can be shared. And we may have even a worldly understanding about the situation, which we can very carefully express, very carefully, because our view and our understanding about a certain situation may trigger a certain opposition, a certain debate and argumentation, which is not helpful. But yet, if you perceive somebody mistreating a dog, it comes into your space somehow. You can express something. but not to be 100% certain, because even your perception of somebody mistreating a dog may be something false about it. You don't know 100%, because you're not that person. You're not. You are an external perceiver, and the perceiving might be possibly flawed, 1% flawed or 100% flawed. I don't know. You don't know. But the fact that your perception may be flawed and you recognize that does not mean that, oh, as a result, then I'm not going to say anything. No. You would say, oh, what's going on? I mean, are you okay? What's happening with the dog? With this dog? What's going on? You need some help? Not like, oh, you're wrong, and stop that, and you're stupid. No, there is a way. The way of expressing ourselves that has to have a certain degree of not knowing, at the same time expressing what we perceive and what we. So, yes, you don't want to inflame or complicate the situation or aggravate the debate. No, that's not the intention. So you can wonder, question, explore, I don't know. Some situations may require quite a bit of study in order to understand the complexity of the situation. Some other situations are simple, let's say less complex maybe.
I think this is a different question, and I'm not sure if I'm going to ask it right. But I have the. I'll say it this way: that I have the understanding, and I get, and I to the best of my ability of I think not just what you say, but maybe I'm wrong, but I think also why you say happiness is non-phenomenal. It's in no way contingent on what appears and what goes and what's transient. But I also know you a little bit as a person, and I know that there are things you will comment about that happen in the world. Is there unhappiness? Is there obviously there's compassion for suffering that's witnessed. Is there unhappiness also that when you see the suffering that comes? Maybe you could talk about that. Am I making any sense at all?
Yes, I understand. We can experience outrage. We perceive a situation where most of humanity, if not all of humanity, disagrees with. And it's a situation that's outrageous. And happiness is more related to me. I'm perceiving something that I get triggered by, that triggers me. Most rest of humanity may not necessarily see that, feel that. So when outrageous situations are situations where we all perceive as being dissonant, so since you're asking about my experience, and probably quite different from many other friends and people in the States. I have a certain proximity to the situation since I come from that area, I'm born in that area and lived there, until I was almost 18 years old. So I have over the years, become more and more aware of the situation in different ways than most people who watch the U.S. news, who watch NBC or ABC or whatever, who watch CNN. It's just a different thing. So I have a certain information available to me that many people don't have here in the States. They're not aware, and so I experienced outrage. Yeah. This body mind somehow is not born in Ukraine or lived in Ukraine, and I'm sure that people who are from Ukraine, living throughout the world, they follow so much closer the situation, different news, different emails, and whatever, different texts, different studies, different articles written, different poems written by people from their area. So this body mind somehow is not from Ukraine, but I similarly experienced the same outrage that we all experience when Russian bombs or fall on it. How it is in this bombing or anywhere like in Kurdistan or Armenia or whatever. Yeah. So there is a difference between unhappiness and outrage. Happiness is not phenomenal. It's not in the realm of, okay, I'm happy because blah, blah, blah. We actually experience happiness when the sense of life is absent. The desireless state is a small sample of happiness. And being established as absolute desirelessness is happiness itself. In our experience, we experience a sense of lack. We experience a desire, personal desire that feels very, very important for us. If we don't have this desire, if we don't achieve this goal, if we don't get this home or whatever it is, we will not be happy. And so we strive hard to fulfill that desire. And at the moment of the fulfillment of the desire, we are experiencing happiness or desirelessness. But then the next desire arises. We find something wrong with the house or what, next desire. And so the desire has gotten a respite, but a momentary, a temporary respite. And the happiness that we speak about, the happiness of our true nature, goes hand in hand with a deep understanding that what I am, the reality that I am, is not personal, separate, and limited and lacking something. That is the one and only reality that is, and there is no reality, no other reality outside of myself, outside of being, outside of consciousness. That profound understanding affects the mind. That understanding is not a mind understanding. It is much, much deeper than the mind. It's a no-mind understanding. It's an insight. And this insight alters and transforms the body and the mind and our perception, our thoughts, and our experience of the body, our experience of life is affected and transformed. And this sense of personal self is dissolved. And so the personal desires which arise out of the sense of the personal self are no longer activated because the engine, the fabricator, the personal self which is fabricating the sense of lack is no longer on board. There is a saying that the path is the journey to God. And once the journey to God is realized, then there is the endless journey in God. The journey to God is the journey towards happiness. And once happiness is realized, then there is the endless journey in happiness. A happy journey. Outrage, we all know outrage. It doesn't need to be explained. And of course, the world of politicians, they always, distract, they try to cover up, blind the masses, blind with false news and lies and all sorts of things. But we all know outrage, and we don't need somebody to explain it to us. Because we recognize the other as ourselves. We recognize the pet, as same consciousness as this consciousness. Yeah, so in my case, like your case, I mean, we experience outrage and we see the situation ongoing and ongoing and getting worse. It's like, you know, as we said earlier, we express invitation to the peace, an invitation to love, an invitation to a deeper recognition, to a deeper understanding. And we never know how, when we share from a place of love, we don't know what effect it can have. But love is true. What else can we express but love, right?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I feel a lot of frustration because when you see something, you want to be able to do something. There's nothing that I can do with current situations of all kinds, right? Whether specifically what we're referring to, or is all kinds of things that there's nothing to be done, and that kind of creates an energy that I feel like needs to go somewhere, and then I want to say something, but I think, yeah, coming from, I mean, yeah, it can come from love. That's wonderful, and if not, maybe don't say it or kind of wait and think about it.
You know, it's important not to take a side, you know, to sort of just express our outrage, but not he's right, he's wrong. It's just, you know, outrage is outrage, not to throw wood into the fire, not to aggravate.
Yeah, exactly. That's not to throw fuel.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I'm happy to hear as much as you want to talk about it, but if you want to take other questions as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, Richard. Good to see you.
I just felt to share something here related to this most recent conversation you just had. On the sentence, there's nothing I can do about the situation, who is right, who is wrong, who is the perpetrator, who's the victim. And I feel like what's really mattering is unconditional love. And unconditional love is not senseless or hopeless, or is not waiting for a result, because unconditional love is the most powerful energy in the universe and our most powerful tool. So if we say, oh, I'm sending love into whatever's going on in the Middle East right now, or wherever else we perceive conflict, and in the same time we're saying, oh, but it doesn't make any sense because it's not going to help, then we sort of like sabotage the power that unconditional love is. So that sense of it, or that our mind comes in with all sorts of observations like, oh, in World War II, the Jews were the victims and now they are the perpetrators. I mean, this is just one of many opinions one could have, right? Or saying, oh, the Palestinians, they're all like terrorists or whatever. That's complete waste of energy and waste of time, and it only leads to arguments and fights and I'm right and you're wrong and all this. But unconditional love, where I'm like not having any idea of anything and I don't know anything about anything, and I just see the suffering, and in that moment where I perceive the suffering is me. I feel the suffering. and I'm one, and in that moment, I'm sending unconditional love into myself, into my own feeling of compassion and suffering with these other human beings who go through these terrible moments in their lives, and also into the whole situation. Like,
Yep.
so it's really like the power of unconditional love and the trust that unconditional love is all there is, and it's going to take care of it sooner or later. So I just wanted to share that quickly.
Yes.
So to be careful with that. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Lots of love to you. Okay.
Same to you, Shiva.
So,
Tara has been sharing with me a lot of wisdom, her own and the wisdom of various sages and guides. It's really been quite beautiful. Not to buy into any narratives, to go to the infinite field of consciousness, universal being, universal love. To be watchful about the power that we give to the mind and all the oppositions, this position versus that position. Be attentive to that process.